It's 9 minutes past 8 o'clock. Since Donald Trump announced last week that he was recognising Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and that the US Embassy would move to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv, there has been widespread criticism from around the globe. People call this an inflammatory act and something that could possibly completely derail the peace process. There have been protests around the world. One such action took place at the state capitol in Denver on Tuesday. KGNU's Dave Ashton was there.
Yeah, so my name is Nadine Ibrahim.
Nadine, you're out here making sure people stay safe, sort of acting as a liaison between Denver Police Department, and this is a really big crowd showing up here. I'd say close to 100 people or so. What are people out here to draw awareness to?
Yeah, certainly. That's a great question. And yes, I'm one of the marshals here, one of the organizers of today's rally. We have been in larger numbers here before in the past. But the reason why we're out here today is that Trump administration recently came out and said that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel and that they have intentions of moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, therefore legitimizing what they're trying to say. And for us as Palestinians, as people who stand with Palestinians, as well as people who believe in Jerusalem and being in this international holy place, don't agree with that by any means. We know it's a complete threat to Middle Eastern stability. We know that that's not what it means, and it completely removes a two-state solution from the conversation. And the other big thing of it, too, it legitimizes the illegal settlements by the Israeli government that continue to terrorize the Palestinian people. And then secondly, it further just simply takes away the Palestinian identity. I'm someone who was born in the city of Jerusalem, immigrated to the United States when I was a kid, and I'm Palestinian by identity. And for someone to say that, no, Jerusalem is now Israeli city, that is just a complete denouncing of my identity and who I am, and my people as well.
So for people that would be new to this idea, what would be the impact of moving the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem?
The impact is huge in that the United States is making a very serious step in recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. That's very dangerous for the Palestinian people and the identity and the existence. If you take a look at history between the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, you'll continuously see that the United States has vetoed every single UN resolution that has come out in favor of the Palestinians, given its strong relationship and communications with the Israeli government. So with this type of move, it further legitimizes the position that the United States only cares about the Israeli government and their sense of establishment and not Palestinians by any means. And that's very dangerous in thinking about the future of the Palestinian people and what it means for the Palestinian people to officially be granted a statehood, something that they have been neglected since 1948 and before that with the British rule.
Being born in Jerusalem yourself, what would you like to see happen instead?
I would like people to, first of all, I think first and foremost, as Americans, we don't understand the Palestinian narrative. We are so pro-Israeli with all our media and all our reporting that we've never heard what does the Palestinian narrative look like. And when we ever come to hear the Palestinian narrative, unfortunately, we always denote it as being anti-Semitic, which, with all due respect, is very difficult for the Palestinian people because that's not who we are by any means. And in fact, as Palestinians, one of our biggest allies are Jewish Voices for Peace. Our sense of existence and our sense of advocacy is dependent on our Christian, Jewish, and Muslims. It's not just us alone. And the city and Palestine itself is filled with Christians and Muslims and Jewish individuals. And in fact, like my parents will tell you, growing up, their closest neighbors and their closest friends were Palestinian Christians, and they went to school with Palestinian Jews. So for me, it is for people to understand the Palestinian narrative and understand where Palestinians are coming from, and to actually visit the West Bank and see what does it mean for Palestinians to live under an occupation rule, where you don't have the ability to walk around with freedom, where if you have a single ID, that means you can't go into another city per se, and you might never be able to see your family members that reside in that other city. Or the fact that we still have millions of Palestinian refugees that are still waiting for their call back home, and they will never get that call because we've completely neglected them.
My name's Evan Weissman. I'm not here really on behalf of any organization, though I've been involved with different Jewish peace groups in town. Yeah.
Great. Well, Evan, what did bring you out here this evening?
Mostly I came out to let people know that there are Jews in town, and a lot, who do not agree with a group that calls themselves Jewish Colorado, which is the Federation, the Jewish Federation, and the Jewish Community Relations Council, who put out a statement cheering on Donald Trump and his decision. And it's for a lot of us, it's really important to show that that's not who the Jewish community is here in Colorado.
What is the harmful impact for people that are unaware of this issue? What does it signify?
I think it's an act of violence, really, and calculated. And I think that it would be akin to any other policy, or if it's not a policy, some change of course that is really effectively throwing gas on a fire. And so the effect will be innocent people in Palestine, in Israel, and it's gross, and it didn't need to happen and doesn't need to happen.
My name is Iman Jodeh, and I am the spokeswoman for the Colorado Muslim Society and the Colorado Muslim Leadership Council.
What will be the impact for people in Palestine moving the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem?
The impact is incredibly massive for those Palestinians living in the West Bank who would have otherwise had permits to go worship in the holy sites, like the Church of the Holy Sepulchre or the Dome of the Rock, both incredibly holy to Palestinian Christians and Muslims, now face being cut off from that luxury and that birthright to worship in these places. Furthermore, and most importantly, is that this completely executes the Palestinian-Israeli peace process. There is little to no hope for having a peace process that is viable, whether it's a two-state solution or a one-state solution, and upholding international law that ultimately gave West Jerusalem to Israelis and East Jerusalem to the Palestinians.
Thanks to Dave Ashton for that report from that action that happened Tuesday evening at the state capitol in Denver in reaction to Donald Trump's recent announcement that he was officially recognising Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and that the US Embassy would move to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv.